Why do we possess an economic system that is mathematically destined to fail catastrophically right from the very start of its existence? It is probably not more difficult than the fact that those who control the system derive benefit from it. That is actually how simple it is. When a bank has the ability to create money out of thin air by putting people in debt and at the same time gets compensated for this trickery, which is nothing less than a pure fraud and deception, well, individuals who have power and accumulate wealth for themselves within the system will always make an effort to maintain this illusion in order to protect the system and ensure its preservation. And if the system fails, everyone will quickly realize that the value of the bank's imaginary digital confetti doesn't really consist of anything at all, except for the fact that everyone thought they had value. The system is founded on trust, and that is precisely what it signifies as well. Once you grasp the inner workings of the system, you come to the realization that it can never truly work, and as a result, all trust completely evaporates and disappears without a trace. So the system is founded on the fact that the general public never comprehends the fundamental mechanisms of how money is generated. Since nearly all money in our monetary system is completely based on debt with an associated expense known as interest, the banks have actually made every effort to create the impression that the system is very complex, because no matter what they call different types of financial instruments, whether it's promissory notes, bonds, deposits, IOUs or securities, the foundation is always a debt with a nominal amount, a maturity date and an interest rate. So even though the system will eventually crash, it's actually completely mathematically inevitable, there are also other consequences that need to be highlighted that depend on the actual design of the system. This perpetual and incessant debt growth is not only economically unsustainable, but it also inevitably leads to a wide range of social and environmental problems that cannot be ignored or underestimated. Economic growth becomes a necessity rather than a choice, which puts pressure on the depletion of natural resources and ultimately always leads to material inequality and financial instability. In short, the inevitable debt growth in the current system is not a side effect, but rather a fundamental mechanical characteristic of how money is created and circulated, which leads to a range of profound long-term problems for both the economy, the environment, and society at large. The system mechanically makes fewer and fewer richer and richer at the expense of more and more people, depleting the natural resources of the planet and exacerbating the environment. The one who has the most money when they die wins if the planet is still inhabitable then. So that's actually how the system works. Unfortunately, there is often a close connection between those who regulate the financial markets and those who benefit from it. A significant number of decision makers in fiscal policy actually have professional backgrounds in the banking and finance sector. You do not have to be a rocket scientist to comprehend that this type of intertwining of different interests can lead to political decisions and regulations that benefit the financial industry rather than serving the best interest of the public, which, to say the least, is completely contrary to the principles of democracy. The risk that political decisions don't always serve the best interests of the public, but instead prioritize and advance the interests of the financial sector, can't really be seen as anything other than highly imminent. When you also look at our surroundings a little bit and where the system has actually led us, then it becomes almost embarrassing.